What's up, Queens, and welcome back to Cricket Crowns. If you're new around here, welcome. My name is Destiny, and on this channel, I help you to embrace your identity and ignite your purpose. We talk all things self-love, faith, personal development, identity, and purpose. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe because I will be having videos coming your way every Tuesday. Listen, sis, in today's video, we are going to be discussing how to build self-esteem. All right, let's get into it. First of all, let me just say this is a no judgment zone, okay? Because some of the topics that I talk about can be very, very sensitive and personal to certain people. And I don't want my platform to be a place where we ridicule and pick on each other. I want it to be a place of like community. I want it to be a place where we can all grow and love on each other and encourage each other, because all of us are at different places in our journey, in our lives, right? So in talking about this topic today, I want to just be very sensitive to everybody and the places that they may be in their lives, right? Because building your self-esteem is one of those things that we all have to deal with. If you are a human being, then you have to deal with building your self-esteem. And I've come to realize that a lot of us have low self-esteem. And I can speak on this because I battled with low self-esteem for a very long time. From the time I was in middle school all the way to the time I was probably, I'll say like 23, I battled with low self-esteem. And even in that, it still would show up in certain areas of my life, right? So just know that self-esteem, building your self-esteem is a process. It's a growth process. It's not something that you just wake up and you just have all of this confidence. It's something that you have to build within yourself. So it is a process. I just want to put that disclaimer out before we start. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about it. So what exactly is the low self-esteem? So low self-esteem is exactly what it sounds like. Low self-esteem. So basically, the way that you see yourself is low. Your esteem is low about yourself. So the way that you primarily think of yourself is in a negative way. All right? I hope that makes sense, right? So it's just a negative self-perception of your own self. It's a psychological condition where individuals have a consistently low sense of worth, self-value, and self-confidence. So you consistently feel low about yourself. Low self-worth, low self-value, and low self-esteem. That's basically what it is. And I wanted to highlight something because in that second definition I gave you, I said psychological, meaning that it has something to do with the mind, which is very interesting, right? Because anytime something has to do with the mind, that should give you a clue that it has a lot to do with your thinking and the way that you think about yourself and the way that you feel about yourself, right? So this is good news, because if it's your mind, if it's your thoughts, that means you have the power to change it. So this is actually great news. So what are some signs that you may have low self-esteem, right? You talk negative to yourself. You're very critical of yourself. You're constantly putting yourself down. You're just mean to yourself. You don't say the nicest things to yourself. I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm ugly, I'm fat, nobody loves me, I'm not worth anything. Where does this stem from? So it can come from childhood. It could come from trauma. It can come from the way you were raised, being picked on. It could come from a number of things of why we are this way, right? But the good part about all of this is there is a solution to it. It can be fixed. It can be worked on. It's a process. It's going to take time, but it can be fixed, right? So some signs you have negative low self-esteem is negative self-talk. You have a hard time accepting compliments from people. You feel failure. You fear failure. Listen, when I went through my phase of having low self-esteem, I wouldn't take risk. There was just things that I would not do because I just didn't think that I would be successful at it. So I didn't do anything at all. I was a people pleaser. I was obsessed with other people's opinions of me. I mean, if one person called me ugly, it would ruin my entire day. I mean, because what they say it's in bricks. It is stone. If they say I'm ugly, that means I'm ugly. I'm ugly. The world's coming down. The world's gonna fall apart because one person said that I was ugly. That's it. And I feel like when you're dealing with low self-esteem, one of the things that you do often is you internalize things. You take things way too personal. Even if it's not about you, you'll find a way to make it about you. Oh my God. Even if people don't feel negative about you, you're going to find a way to spin it to make them think negative of you, because that's how you view yourself. And you can only view the world out of your eyes. If someone else could give you their perspective of how they thought of you and what they thought of you, then it wouldn't truly be self-esteem. You would be other-esteemed. And whenever you have to depend on somebody to build you up, it's dangerous because they can take that away from you. So having self-esteem just means being rooted in who you know you are, right? And building self-esteem starts with building a relationship with yourself. Because it's not about what anybody else thinks about you. It's not about how anybody else feel about you. It's about how you feel about yourself. So 1,010 people can tell you that you're beautiful. But if you think you ugly, guess what? You ugly. And we have to get to a place where we're not so overly dependent on people to pump us up, to make us feel good about us. You got to get to a place in your life where you could depend on you, where you could start trusting you, where you could start trusting your voice. And I get it. I understand 100%. I get it completely. A lot of us have gone through different type of traumas, hurts, pains from relationships, friendships, even family. People have done things to us. People have said things to us, and it has stung us. It has left marks on us. It has left imprints on us, on our souls, on our minds, on our wills, on our emotions. And it could be hard trying to break free from that, especially when you believe it. But you got to get to a place where you want freedom and you want change and you want to love yourself. Because nobody can do the work for you. Only you can do the work for you. You know what the problem is. You know what you have to work on. Now you just got to do it. You just got to put the steps in place to do it, to change your life, because it's time. You can't keep living like this. You can't continue to beat yourself up like this. You can't continue to stay in your depression like this. At some point, sis, you got to choose to get up. And I don't know if you noticed, but we live in a pretty selfish world. Ain't nobody coming to knock down your door to tell you to get up. You're going to have to pull that strength from within yourself, the same way that I did. I decided within myself, I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of hating myself. I'm tired of not feeling like I'm not beautiful. I'm tired of allowing my low self-esteem to push me into the arms of men who are toxic, who don't know what love is, don't know how to love. They're broken themselves. I'm tired of my low self-esteem making me count myself out for things that I'm qualified for. I got tired of my low self-esteem making decisions for me. And it's like when you have low self-esteem, right? I wish I had some glasses, some shades. It's like you got on shades. It's like you can only see out of your brokenness. You can't see what's real. You can only see out of your brokenness, and that's the perspective that you live from. You ever seen a woman who was just like so beautiful and she hated herself, and you was like, yo, like, you're so pretty. Like, what's the problem? But she just hates herself deep down inside, because it's not about what anybody else can see. It's not about what anybody else feels about you. It's about what you feel about you. And low self-esteem starts within. Because I noticed that a lot of people, when they try to work on themselves, when they start their journey to becoming her, They start on the outside first. So maybe if I just change my hair, or maybe if I just wear less clothes, or maybe if I just start wearing a little bit more makeup, then, that's what's going to make me feel like that girl. And I can tell you that it'll work for a little bit. Because it actually does help you feel better when you look good. But at the end of the day, if you have not changed your mind, if you have not worked on your insides, you're going to go back to your default setting, which is that low self-esteem. And that's what I want to get you out of today. So, how do we build self-esteem, right? One of the first things you want to do when building your self-esteem is you first want to shift your mindset. You have to understand, right? There is a thought that you think, or thoughts that you think about yourself, that is not true. And whatever that thought is, you have come into agreement with that thought. Whether that thought is, I'm ugly. In order for that thought to have taken roots in your mind, you had to come in agreement with it somewhere along the line, somewhere. I don't know how, I don't know when, but somewhere along the line in your life, somebody told you was ugly, or you told yourself you was ugly, or you told yourself you wasn't worthy of love, and you came into agreement with that thought. And that's when it became your reality. My God. You have to begin to tear down the negative thoughts in your head. But how do I do that? How do I tear down negative thoughts in my head if I don't even know, I don't even know the thoughts that I'm thinking for real? This is where self-awareness is very, very important. Because a lot of stuff that you say about yourself, those are the thoughts that you need to be tearing down. So if you constantly find yourself saying, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid. Somebody told you were stupid. Or you believe that you were stupid somewhere along the way, right? So if I were you, I would advise you to get a journal. And when these thoughts come into your mind, to write it down. Don't just dismiss them. Write them down. Whatever belief that you believe about yourself, write it down. If it's, I feel like I'm unlovable, write it down. I don't feel like I'm worthy of friendship, or worthy of love, or I don't feel like I'm worthy of a promotion, write that down. I always feel the need to be in a relationship because I feel like that's the only way I can truly be loved. Write that down. Don't run from it. Write it down. Because when you write it down, you get an opportunity to see what you're thinking. Your mind is your hard drive, right? So 9 times out of 10, you think these thoughts on the daily. So the first thing you have to do is get it out of your head and get it on paper so that you can see it. So that you can see what it is that you are believing, right? And I would advise you to, under that thought, write the opposite of that. So if you feel like you're dumb, I'm very intelligent. You have to counteract it with positivity, with positive affirmations. Right? Because we have to begin to rewire your thinking and to rewire your mind. Now, it's not just going to happen in one day. So this is something that you're going to have to continuously do intentionally every single day. So whatever it is that you're thinking negative, I'm ugly. No, I'm beautiful. And then make your version of what beautiful is. You don't have to be anybody else's version of beautiful. See, that's another reason why us women have low self-esteem, because these movies, social media, these rap videos, they portray certain things to you as a woman to make you feel like, dang, bruh, if I don't got the flat stomach, if I ain't got the big booty, if I ain't got the green eyes, if I ain't got the long hair, then I'm not that girl. And that's not true. You are beautiful. You are unique in your own way, but you have to find your beauty, and you have to begin to express your beauty with your clothes on. With your clothes on. Because whether you want to believe this or not, sis, your outfit is your advertisement. It's what you put out to the world. I know. When this 2023, they shouldn't be judging me on what I put on. But they are. They are. And it's how you carry yourself. It's how you represent yourself. It's your personal advertisement. It's what you want people to know about you when they see you. You don't even have to open up your mouth, because we live in a world where people are just going to automatically judge you for how you look. And don't even say that you're not like that, because you are. We all are. We judge people. We don't even give them an opportunity to say anything. We look at them and we make a judgment about them off rip. And if you say no, you're being hypocritical. Be honest, sis. It's about being vulnerable. It's about being real. So the first thing you want to do is you want to begin to write down those negative thoughts so that you can begin to change your mind and you can begin to change your perspective about how you see yourself and about how you feel about you, right? This is the thing. You don't need validation from anybody. Nobody should be telling you how you should feel about you because you have every right to love you. You have every right to honor you. Listen, let me tell you, because one thing that I struggled with when I had low self-esteem was dimming my light to make other people feel better about themselves. Oh my God. I used to dim my light to make other people feel better about themselves because I didn't want to offend anybody, because I wanted to be liked, because I wanted to be accepted, knowing good and goddamn well that I was better than half of them doing what they was doing. But because I didn't want to offend anybody, I would shrink back. And this season, sis, we're not doing that. We are accepting all of our greatness and we're going to let it shine. And it's not my job to babysit anybody else's feelings on how they feel about me and me being great and me shining, because you never dim your light to allow somebody else to shine. And if me being around you means that I have to play small, if me being around you means that I can't be who God called me to be, and if me being around you means that I can't shine, it intimidates you, it makes you afraid, then we don't need to be friends. We don't need to be together. We don't need to be in the same vicinity. We need to go our separate ways, because in this season of our life, this is Destiny's time. I'm the main character in my life in this season. Don't ever allow yourself to be in relationship with people that make you feel like in order for them to be big, you have to be small. Or in order for them to shine, you have to get in the back and play the back. No. We're not doing that in this season of our lives. Absolutely not. Because let me tell you one thing that I've learned about some females is a lot of females are actually very insecure. I used to be friends with some females who I used to think, when I had very low self-esteem, that they was just all of that in a bag of chips and some dip. And then once I healed, I realized they was broken. They had low self-esteem. Because low self-esteem doesn't always show up in the way of, let me just be quiet, let me be silent, let me not say anything, let me just walk with my head down and let me not make eye contact. No. Low self-esteem sometimes show up as being loud. Show up as being attention seeking. Show up as not wearing clothes. Show up as sleeping around. Show up as, I'm that girl. Yeah. Sometimes low self-esteem behind all that too. So don't allow people to trick you. Don't allow people to fool you. Because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of celebrities that y'all looking up to, that y'all think, oh my gosh, she's just so this, she's just so that. And if you would know her behind closed doors, she's really broken and she's really hurting. That's why a lot of them do what they do when they get all the plastic surgeries. I don't care what nobody, I just want to look good. Okay, cool. That's the excuse that they use. But deep down inside, what they're really saying is, I didn't feel enough about myself. So I felt like this would enhance my beauty. This would make me better. I don't care what label they try to put on it. I don't care how cute they try to make it seem. That's exactly what the issue is. Because if you loved you, why you got to do all that? You got to make it look bigger? Why you got to do all that? The point is, we don't love ourselves enough. The point is, that's why millions of women, thousands of women around the world are dying at the hands of surgeons, because we do not love ourselves enough. That's why makeup is $1 billion industry, because we don't love ourselves enough. Let's talk about it for real. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wearing makeup. Obviously, I have on makeup. There's nothing wrong with wearing weave. Obviously, I have weave in. But there is something wrong with it when you feel like you need it. There is something wrong with it when you feel like, oh my God, I'm ugly without it. There is something wrong with it when you feel like you can't show up as you. There is something wrong with it when you equate your value to what you put on. That's where the problem is. Because there's nothing wrong with enjoying makeup. There's nothing wrong with enjoying dressing up. But when you feel like it makes you who you are, when you feel like you can't live without it, when you feel like you don't like yourself without it, then there's a problem at the core. There's a problem at the root. Love it, but love it from a healthy place. That's all I'm saying. It's equivalent to when you hop in and out of relationships because you feel like a relationship makes you more loved. You feel like a man makes you feel more valued. I used to feel like that. I used to feel like me being in a relationship it proved to myself that I was lovable. Because I didn't love me, I had to get somebody else to love me. Ain't that so backwards? Because I didn't love me, I had to get into a relationship to get somebody else to love me, to prove to myself that I was lovable. And guess what happened when we broke up? I went back to my default. And that's another point. Whenever you're working on your self-esteem, you really want to do it in a state of like singleness. I mean, now I'm not talking to people who are married. I'm talking to people who are single. When you are working on your self-esteem, you really want to do it in a state of singleness, because let's be honest, when you're broken, you can't choose right. Ooh, when you desperate, everybody the one. Come on, be real. When you desperate, everybody's the one. It don't matter. All he gotta do is just smile. Matter of fact, he ain't gotta do nothing. Just breathe. Tag, you're it. Tag, you're it. You don't gotta know none of his qualifications. You don't know if he got nothing. Just you breathing, you looking at me, you're the one. And I can speak on this because I lived it. My low self-esteem was so low that I stayed in relationships because I felt like those relationships validated me. I stayed in toxic relationships. I stayed in and out of relationships. I could never be by myself because I just wanted somebody to love me. But at the end of the day, you got to learn how to love yourself. I'm trying to teach you to not be so needy, because you don't think these men can see the desperation and the neediness. They can see that. They can sense it. That's why they don't stay around, because they know that you feel like you need them. You make the wrong brother feel like you need him. Oh, he finna take you up and through though, because you need me. You ain't going nowhere. And that's how we end up in these toxic relationships. Because sometimes we settle for treatment that we don't even deserve because of the way that we see ourselves. Because the reality is, a lot of us don't feel like we deserve love. A lot of us don't feel like we deserve to be in healthy relationships. We don't feel like we deserve that. We feel like we deserve to be mistreated. And that's why we put up with it. But when you change your mindset, when you start working on building that relationship with yourself, when you start working on tearing down those strongholds and replacing them with the truth of who you are, then you will be better able to filter the people who you are in a relationship with. But as long as you are broken, you're going to continue to choose men who only continue to reintroduce that same emotion of I'm not good enough to you, because that's what you're familiar with. You don't realize you keep dating the same man, different names, same man. They got the same attributes. They got the same characteristics. They all liars. They all cheaters. They all abusive. At what point do you stop and say, okay, hold on, something got to be wrong with me? And I'm not saying wrong with you as in you're broken and you need fixed, but something about me is toxic. Something about me is unhealthy. How come I only date men who are bums? They never have a job. They never have nothing going for themselves. They constantly use me. They constantly abuse me. How come I keep attracting men? They never want to be in real relationships. All they want to do is just Netflix and chill all day. Why do I keep attracting these men? At what point do you stop and say, okay, hold on. It's me. I'm the problem. Y'all know that song on TikTok? I'm the problem. It's me. Yes, you're the problem. It's time to start working on you. But we can fix this. That's the great thing about it. But you got to be willing to do the work, right? So one, mental transformation. Just changing those thoughts about yourself, writing those negative thoughts down, challenging those thoughts with positive affirmations. And two, you have to be intentional about building a relationship with you. So everything that you would want for a man to do for you, do for yourself. You want a man to come and take you on dates? Take yourself out on dates. You want to get dressed up and pretty for a man? Do it for yourself. You want a man to buy you flowers? Go buy your own flowers. Go be your own cheerleader. Go be your biggest cheerleader. You got to learn how to root for you. You got to learn how to build yourself up before a man could come into the picture. Learn how to date yourself. Get dressed up for you. Do your hair for you. Take yourself out on a date. Well, it feels so weird to just go out alone. So? Ain't nothing wrong with taking yourself out on a date. I'm dating myself. I'm spending time with myself. I'm buying myself the purses that I want. I'm taking myself on the trips that I want to go on. You have to learn how to date yourself. Pick up a hobby. Do something new. Figure out some different streams of income that you can create for yourself. There's a lot of things to be worried about other than a Negro. a man when you ain't got yourself together? Can I just be real? Can I talk to y'all? So sis, it's time for you to start building that relationship with yourself. Start building you up. Because what you don't realize is when you go into a relationship, relationships are built on people. So you're coming into that relationship and he's coming into that relationship. And if you're broken and if he's broken, the relationship is going to be broken. You cannot give anybody what you don't have. You can't learn to love somebody else until you learn to love yourself. How would you know if that man is loving you correctly if you don't even know what it takes to love yourself? You don't even know what you like. So how he gonna love you when you haven't mastered loving yourself? We got to stop thinking that we have to stop using other people as a source to fill voids within ourselves. We got to stop. It's not healthy. And we get in these toxic relationships and then we make babies, which makes it even worse. But you got to learn how to build yourself up. Build a relationship with yourself. Take yourself out on dates. Dress up. Buy yourself something nice. Get a new hobby. Do whatever it is you need to build a relationship with you. Journal. I mean, become you obsessed. Become so you obsessed. Sometimes God will keep you single because he wants you to learn you. He wants you to learn what real love is. And if you don't know what real love is, you will accept any counterfeit that come into your life. And that's not what God wants for you. He wants the best for you. Okay? So the third thing would be to focus on your strengths. When you have low self-esteem, a lot of the times you just focus on your weakness. Well, I'm this, I'm that, she's this, she's that. What are your strengths? What are you good at? What's your talents? What's your gifts? How does God want you to contribute to the world? How do you want to give back to the world? What do you want to be remembered for? What is it that you can do that nobody else can do? What is it that just comes so natural to you? What are you gifted at? What's your strengths? You focus so much on your weakness that you probably don't even know your strengths. Because you become so problem obsessed. But we have to change that thinking, right? And then I would also say, start praying and reading your word. You got to start telling yourself what God tells about you in his word. You got to start saying things that God says about you in his word. And you have to start coming into agreement with those things. Because that's going to begin to shift your thinking. Right? And then my last one is just find purpose. Find your purpose. Find what it is that you were created to do. When you do those things, it builds confidence. When you begin to build you begin to build your confidence. The reason why you feel so low is because you don't do anything with yourself. You haven't built yourself. And it takes time. You have to build yourself. It's important to work on these things because a positive self-image is everything. You live your life from your head. You live your life from what you think about yourself. And having a positive view of yourself allows you to be realistic of who you really are. Because remember, when you have low self-esteem, it's like you having no shades on. And when you have shades on, you can't really see clearly. It's a little dark. So you got to begin to take those shades off and begin to renew your mind. Begin to tell yourself truths. Begin to build yourself up. Building up your self-esteem is also going to boost your confidence. It's going to boost your confidence. When you build your confidence, you're most likely to take risk. You set goals. You challenge yourself. You push yourself. When you have low self-esteem, you're burnt out. You don't feel like you can do anything because you spend most of your energy thinking about what you're not instead of who you are, right? Another benefit to building your self-esteem would be you build resilience. You bounce back quickly from setbacks. Can't nothing keep you down long because I'm built for this. I'm made for this. You can't break me. You can't break my soul. Okay, you can't break me. You get it. I'm going to bounce back every time. And then mental health. Good self-esteem is linked to mental health. You won't deal with things like anxiety and depression all the time. And if you do, you're resilient. You know how to bounce back because you have that good self-esteem. You have that root. When you don't have good self-esteem, Depression takes you out. You laying in the bed for days in the dark, crying, can't move, paralyzed, hating yourself and hating life. But that's not how God wants you to live. He wants you to be free, sis. He wants you to be free. Also, having good self-esteem is very beneficial to your health. Because when you love you, you start working out. You start taking care of your body because you understand the benefits of having a healthy body. And when you have low self-esteem, you don't value your body. You eat all kind of junk. You lay in a bed all day. You don't really do much. But when you build your self-esteem, you'll start working out. You'll start creating new habits. You'll start investing in you. You are your greatest investment. I just wish you knew how important you was. I just wish you knew how much you really mattered. I just wish you really knew your worth. Because if you did, your whole life would change, from your relationships to the money you make, to how you dress, to how you express yourself. Everything would change. You would come out of your shell. You would stop being afraid. You would stop running. You would stop hiding because you would feel big enough to take on the world. But it's in there. You just got to build her up to that. And you have to be intentional about it. Having high self-esteem also helps you to make better choices in life. How many times have you made the wrong choice out of your low self-esteem? How many times have your low self-esteem caused you to choose the wrong man? Or the wrong friends? Or pick up the wrong habits? But having high self-esteem will help you to make better decisions. And then last but not least, low self-esteem empowers you to make the right choices. You will make choices that align with your values instead of out of your pain. It's time for you to change your life because I believe you deserve better. You do deserve better. You deserve to have everything that your heart desires. I want that for you. God wants that for you. And I know you want that for you. So it's time for you to start building yourself up. You got to get rid of this low self-esteem because it's robbing you of the life that you desire to live. And you have the power to overcome it. You have the power to change it. But you have to do the work. It's not just going to happen for you. All right, sis? Well, I hope this video has really helped you. And if it has helped you, if it has inspired you in any way, do your girl a favor. Comment, let me know if it helped you. Like the video, share it with somebody else who you feel like it will help, and subscribe to the channel so that you can know when I'm dropping new content, which will be every Tuesday. But sis, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video here, and as always, I appreciate you ladies for tuning in, and peace.